Hi, guys, and welcome to the Take 3 Reactors Summit. This week we have not only a very special guest for the entire summit, but we also have some great interviews, and we're covering a lot of really crazy stuff that happened this week in the Schmoedown. So we're going to get some really great conversation about that, and I cannot wait. Let's go. All right, and welcome to the Take 3 Reactor Summit. This week, like I said, we have a very special guest. We are joined for the entire summit by Chance, who, as you know, has been competing in the Schmoedown. We're going to talk to him about his matches. How's it going, Chance?
It's going great. Last time I was here, I was a panelist, and this time I'm a special guest. So move it up in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to definitely have a chance to talk to you about your experiences with the Schmoedown in general and your last match, which no controversy happened at all during your last match. No one is upset.
Nobody is upset.
But it is great to have you back on. I love seeing that you're just kind of blowing up the Schmoedown world right now. Also joining us, Abe, who never wants to be on the summit, but for some reason is always on the summit now. How's it going, Abe?
It's not good because people, if you book yourself for something, be here at time. Thank you.
We have nothing to say to people. It's all good. All right. So, that being said, we'll get right into the Schmoedown. This week started out with that great team match. So this was, Rocha and Merle with the Founding Fathers, and then Kalinowski, and of course Chance. And man, this was just a really crazy match. I mean, let's just ignore sudden death for a minute, because you had this. Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit. But I mean, you had round one where literally it was point for point. Everyone got the same amount of points, about as even a round one in a team match as you can get. And then, your round twos were what they were. Round three was also pretty solid. But I thought that this match was just really evenly played. I mean, tied all over the place. We're going to go to Abe first. Just what were your thoughts on this match? And we'll talk about the match first and then the end of the match in a minute.
Well, this is another kick to my bracket, because my bracket is destroyed, and it's like they keep destroying it. Like in Ted 2, when Ted breaks Mark Wahlberg's laptop and then throws it to a river. That's what is happening to my bracket. But as the match, as you say, it was evenly played. I thought everybody played a great game. Even the Founding Fathers, I thought when they spun horror, they were done because of the amazing round Chance Kalinowski had. But I thought the match was great, and it was as you say, evenly played match. It had to be something really weird to happen that will come out and define who's gonna win, because both teams show what they're made of. And what came my favorite part of the match was the post-match interview with Dan and Rocha. I thought they showed the passion they have for the Schmoedown, and that overshadowed the match for me, even though it was amazing. But that made me cry in the middle of my class. So I was watching it in class.
Well, shame on you for watching it in class. But I agree with you that was also my favorite part of the match. Not because, they were crying or whatever, but just the passion that they were showing about the game, how much it means to them, and, their message to the fans of just, be nicer to the competitors, because they really do put it all out there when they play. Now, Chance, I know you've only had 2 matches that have aired. I'll preface, but how do you feel coming out of 2 really good victories? I mean, we'll leave aside the controversy, because without that, you literally played 2 of the best team matches that have ever been played in the Schmoedown, in my opinion. So how are you feeling coming out of those, as coming into the league as a fan?
Yeah, it feels great. It feels feels great to be able to just come out of obscurity and essentially just come in and put up some real numbers with some like great real competitors. So especially that second match where I had to go up against two-time champions. So it was crazy, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine competing at all, but to be competing about people that are considered to be, in the running for greatest of all time. I mean, there's a ton of people who still consider Dan to have that spot. And, I think Rocha should definitely be consideration for that, especially after Friday. But I mean, that's got to be super nerve wracking. Were you how are you feeling going into the match? Were you, feeling ridiculously nervous, or were you really mellowed? Because you didn't look nervous.
That's me trying to keep my composure. So I was. That was the most nervous. At that point, I was the most nervous I'd ever been going into a match. Granted, it was only my second match, but I mean, it's Dan and Rocha in round 2, so I literally get. I think the philosophy of this league is I get thrown right into fire as soon as possible. See my first singles match, or at least my opponent from my first singles match, if you want to know, further proof. But yeah, nobody, something I always remember, nobody ever got great by doing what was easy. So it's the hard fight, the fights that nobody wants to take. That's the ones you go into that you have to take in order to make yourself better. You got to put yourself in tough situations, and it's the same in every match. I treat it just like I treat ink in a brain. It's a match. I just got to go in, focus on what I know, answer as many questions right as I can, and answer the questions right, I got to go home and get the day winning.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great way to look at it, especially, from the standpoint of you not even just in teams, but in singles as well. You're coming into this during a tournament. These aren't even just regular matches. This is tournament play. I mean, you could end up with a belt for both leagues, teams and singles. I mean, that's gotta be just terrifying. But I've been so impressed by the way you've handled yourself, and in terms of, I mean, you're really playing into the league. I mean, just teaming up with Kalinowski in general, now he's kind of gone to his heel turn. Was it really natural for you to play into that kind of heelish role, or is it something that you're just kind of flying by the seat of your pants with, or what?
It's a little more natural because that's kind of how I started. In the families, I was a bad guy, so. The progression as far as the character and the blending of the storyline, it was great being a main focal point of the story, and it wasn't a really hard transition for me, at least.
So that first cutscene that you had where you kind of called out Rocha, how fun was that? I don't know if it was a cutscene, but there was a video where you were calling out Rocha. Okay, yeah, it was just a Facebook video. Yeah, but it probably should have been a cutscene. It was pretty intense. How was that for you? Just being able to go and give Rocha shit for something official.
I was not ready for that, just because that was the first thing that happened when I walked in the door. It was the first thing that happened when I walked in the door, and that was also the first time I met John. So
nice.
So I had to snap into it just real quick, and I think it turned out it was really good. It was really fun. John and I hugged out after. John's great. He's a real professional, especially stuff like this. And that was super fun to do, especially on my first real introduction into competing.
Yeah, and I mean, John is really great, and if there's anyone that you're going to kind of have your intro to Schmoedown Smack Talk with, it probably should be him, because he doesn't hold back usually. So I just think that that's awesome that you've had the opportunity to kind of go toe-to-toe with him, not just in the matches, but outside of it as well. And now you're going to have the opportunity to try and face him for that belt. So the rivalry could continue. If you didn't have a chance to watch the rundown, Rocha had some really nice things to say about you in the rundown.
The most recent one?
Yeah, yep, the one that came out just this weekend. He said that, you came in and being the rookie, you have a lot to live up to, but you've proven yourself and you've proven your passion, and you should definitely watch it.
I will definitely go watch it when we're done with this.
Yeah, he had some very, very nice things to say about you. Does that make you more or less worried about moving into the singles tournament?
Probably about the same. I would love to face Rocha. Don't be wrong, especially for the title. But the thing is, I gotta take it. I got a massive obstacle to get. I got a massive mountain to climb if I want to get even close to that. So, gotta worry about it. It's one match at a time, one question at a time.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's the way the greats actually play it. Is they try to keep the long game in mind, but look at who they're playing and how to beat them. So going into your next team match, was there anything that happened this match that you want to work on, or you're considering trying to change your strategy up at all, or just kind of keeping things going?
Anything happened in this match?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything I'd really change. We played a way better game than we did our first time because we got a category match we were actually really good at. Nothing I'd really change from this match. Something I would change, but I'm sure we'll.
Okay. Well, you transitioned for me, so that's nice. I do want to just let you have a chance to address it, and I know that you made a post on Facebook. People are gonna do people. Basically, is my opinion. There is the rule that if it phonetically is the same, then that's fine. If you've never seen his name written out, it's a pretty easy thing to mess up, but going into it and then coming out of it, what are your thoughts on this whole, controversy, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I've heard people say David O. Russell more than I've seen it spelled. So that's why I confused it, and that's why the word association. Also, I had a professor in college named L. Murphy, so that's why that confusion stuck in my head. So that's why I mixed it up. Even what was pointed out to me is it's not David O. Russell. Oh shit, you're right. But it's phonetically it is the same thing. I spelled it correctly. I pronounced it correctly. So I got the right answer. So that really shouldn't have blown up as much as it has. I just think, in this particular match, people were looking for a reason to justify it. But no, I'm just kidding. That shouldn't have blown up as much as it did. I had it right. And really, my answer that was never, people misunderstand that. My answer was never, that wasn't the challenge. My answer was never in question. It was whether or not Dan got it right, because he wrote Spike Jonze, who was in the movie. That's why he made that mistake. Spike Jonze in Three Kings. But yeah, that as soon as I finished, first of all, that challenge went on for a long time. I don't know how, but it felt like an eternity sitting up there with the four of us, even the point where it's we're laughing, we're joking, we were all just confused. We're just we don't know what's going on. And honestly, I wouldn't have liked it. I wouldn't have liked if our win got taken away. I would have understood. I would have been happy about it. And I know that had we gone another question, we would have lost. Just because I'm not sure. I know mentally I wasn't there anymore. I don't know if I mentally would have been there. So in one way that it did. I like to think I would have been there for another question. I know Mike wouldn't have been though. So, it went away, and as soon as we left the building that day, we're just this is gonna catch fire when this airs. But honestly, it was a good win. It was an honest win, and maybe you can be unhappy about a Russell all you want. It's but you still have 2-0 on our record, so.
Yeah, I mean, and then people who say that because you got one answer wrong that you don't deserve the win when you've played an amazing game. I mean, everyone had great first round, great second round. Third round was solid as well. I mean, it's hard to say just because there was something that people don't agree with in the sudden death of a tournament round that you don't deserve a win. That's insane.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And this is a definite. I want to say this is a definite match of the year contender because this is one of the best. I definitely think it's one of the best of the year. Maybe I'm a little biased, but
maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. I want to say it is. This is definitely one of the best matches of the tournament. It's up there with Take the Cannoli versus Self-Righteous Brothers, I think.
Yeah, I mean it really is. It's going to be remembered for probably the wrong reason.
Yeah, and that's what I'm most upset about. I'm upset that the talk is all on sudden death rather than the entire rest of the game.
Yeah, and that is kind of disappointing because it was such a good match. And when I think during the reaction to the title match, I said it was one of the most evenly played matches. That was the same with this. It's not that it was tied every time. It when a match kind of has a good like back and forth, it feels almost like an actual fight, right? Like a boxing match or something. And these matches this week felt so even. It was like some person, like one of you guys would land a point and then it would, go back to the other one. And then it was so back and forth. It was so even. The pacing of it, like the first round, the second round, the third round, all felt so like well paced. And I love when Schmoedown matches can feel like a mental back and forth between the two teams. And I think this is one of the matches that did it the best. So, I mean, great job. I know that unfortunately this match isn't going to be remembered probably for the reason it should be. But I mean, I do want to congratulate you on your win. For me, whether or not the controversy happened, you guys deserved it. I think that Dan and John also would have deserved the win, but at the same time, it is what it is. The ruling stands, and so congratulations. I'm super happy for you guys. I just want to also make sure that everyone knows, we can all have our opinions about these rulings, but, it's your opinion. It's like if you're watching a sport and you don't agree with a referee's ruling in the sport, your opinion makes no difference. So feel free to have an opinion, but at some point you just have to accept what happened and move on. I'm sure the competitors want that to happen, but it is what it is. So we are going to. I don't know if Abe wants to say anything about that sudden death
controversy.
Yeah,
sorry for leaving. I was moving furniture.
No, it's cool, man. We had a good talk. If you have anything you want to say about that sudden death thing, we talked about it quite a bit, but you can have your piece if you'd like.
I think the best person that summarized the sudden death thing was Jenny in the comments of the master post, where she says that nobody has ever pointed out an apostrophe, and I think Rocha had a point for challenging it. Would I give it to him without any preview with anything that had happened like did before? Probably not. I think it, like as it says phonetically, is good, but it's a good argument that an apostrophe can change the meaning of something. It's not the same to say winter's bone with an apostrophe than without, and it has a meaning. But Rocha wanted to win either way, so that's why he gets so passionate about it. Probably if it was a round one question, it would be the same, but because it was the deciding factor in the match, that was that made it so passionate for him.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I think because this was like the do or die situation, it was definitely it made him more passionate about it. There were also people who were commenting like, if John hadn't wasted that last JTE rule to be dramatic in their 5-pointer with that Danny DeVito thing, then you would have had it, and Dan could have used it for sudden death. And I'm like, no. John would not have wasted that. Like, there's like people who will do dramatic stuff and waste their points, but that's when they know they're going to win. John isn't someone who's going to do that. He legitimately did not know the answer, so that was stupid to me. I don't know if you had talked to him at all about that, Chance. I kind of doubt it, but
well, no, I didn't talk to him about that specifically, especially after that. But
yeah,
I just know Rocha, so I know that's not how he plays the game. And he even said in the post-match interview, just like, Danny DeVito was the only other person I could think of in that movie, so I just took a shot.
Yeah, and I told someone that in the comments as well. I'm like, I know John, he doesn't play that way. He wouldn't waste something if he thought there was a chance that they would be put into sudden death unless he needed to use that. And sure, there's, being dramatic, but if you're not going to win the match, what's the point of being dramatic, right? So, yeah, that bothered me as well. But this match in general was just, I thought, amazing. And sorry, this is like a weird time for her right now.
Like, as someone mentioned the MTS comments, like any sports, like especially in football, whenever there's like a extra time, they give the teams another timeout. In this case, I think the equivalent in this modern is a JT rule. Will you guys consider like they will do that in the near future of giving people another JT rule, because you never know if you're going to go to sudden death? And
well, like, what if you have like a JT rule already? Do you give them another one, or?
I don't know if it would be like, so in regular, like in football, right? They give you one. Yeah, and that's extra play. You get the one, and nothing you had before carries over. I think
so. Like you get one. I didn't know you could use JT rules in sudden death at all. I just thought it was just like straight up. But yeah, I could totally see them, or I could totally see them changing the rules to where you get like one JT rule, like one overtime JT rule.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be fair, because JTE rules are meant so that sometimes you just can't hear the question and you have to use it. And that happens a lot. That's space, recording space. If the crowd is any kind of noisy, sometimes the question doesn't actually make it to the competitors. I think that's something that people don't realize. But yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. It would give another kind of strategy to the game when they go to sudden death. And we've had so many sudden death matches this year that it's almost something that would be nice to see, an extra layer of, that strategy within the game. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I think it's a decent idea, though. So we are going to move to the championship match. Now, this was another match that was just ridiculously even-paced, right? Like, it was just back and forth. Rocha took the lead. Bibbs took the lead. It was really, really good. It probably is one of my favorite matches of the year, not because, it was the most high scoring or whatever. It just felt so even between the two competitors. What were your thoughts on this match, Chance, as for an actual competitor watching it?
Oh no, it was great. It was everything you wanted from a title match, especially if one of this magnitude had built up for like a year plus, and to go in this fashion was just it was great to see.
Were you actually there for this, or did you just watch it on replay?
I was there.
He was in Bibbiani's. Bibbiani.
Oh shoot, you were in the sing along. I totally even said, hey, look, there's Chance. Well, how did that sing along thing come about? Was that like you walked in the studio and Bibbs was like, hey, I got something for you?
Actually, no, that's literally how it went down. So, that's for us. So like we got when we're hanging out, and Bibbs got there, and he's just like, "Hey, so here's what I want to do at the end, but I need people to help me." So he said, "We're gonna come out. We're gonna sing 'You Lost That Love and Feeling' to Rocha," and I was actually there with Pat Campbell, and we're talking just like, like, you're such a big Tom Cruise fan. You almost have to do it. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll go for it. And I didn't know I was gonna lead the charge, but yeah, it was a fun time. It's always Bibbs always puts together such fun entries. That's something I really admire about him. Every entry he does is like super fun, super creative, and to be a part of that, it was great to be a part of one.
The entrance was great. I loved seeing people who you don't necessarily see on camera, like Pat, coming out. Because, I mean, if there's people who are involved as frequently as they are, it's nice to see them actually on camera. Abe, what did you think about the match, and what were some things that stuck out to you during it?
I think Bibbiani had the match lost since his pre-match interview. He said something that you don't go into with that mentality into a title match, in my opinion. He said like he had nothing to lose and had everything to win. He said like, if I lose, I'm just as good as John Rocha. I don't think he said it in Collider Live too. Like, I don't think he should go with that mentality into a title match, because you want to win everything. Like, don't think about losing, just think about winning, and that's the mentality of a winner, in my opinion. But as a match, I think Bibbiani is probably one of the biggest personalities that Schmoedown has ever seen. And in my opinion, John Rocha is the biggest superstar in the Schmoedown, like, no question. He's the man. He's if you want to be a Schmoedown competitor, I think you look at Rocha. And many people have said it. Kalinowski has said it. Team Action has said it. That Rocha is the first person that they saw, like, taking it as serious as it is. And seeing him winning this championship again was a great moment for me as a fan.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, just watching someone who has that much passion for the game get the belt back is always great. And I mean, Bibbs has his own passion for the game. It doesn't come out the same way as John's does. But definitely two people who are deserving of the belt going against each other for that title match was something special to see. And I mean, when you're looking at the wheel and then you have someone like Bibbs playing, you're like looking at everything and you're like, well, he could, if it's, opponent's choice, which wasn't on the wheel, really. But if it was opponent's choice, you're like thinking like, what's a strong point for him and what's a weakness for him? And there aren't very many weaknesses for Bibbiani. He knows a good amount about everything. And so that's kind of, yeah.
Festival darlings.
Apparently, right? But even then, like, he knows the stuff. It's just when you get into very specific details is when he sometimes doesn't know those answers, which comes along when you get to those 5-point questions are usually the ones that are very specific details. And it's something that has bitten him in the past before. And we saw that today in that match, we saw him lose out points on things that were like really specific details with that, the round 3 and also that final round where those details were just so tiny and minute that he didn't get those right. So it's something for him to work on, I guess, if he wants to, move forward in the Schmoedown career, even though he won't have a chance to do it until next year. He could come back and get another chance at the belt pretty easily, in my opinion. It just depends on who has the belts when he comes back into play. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was great. We had the real great honor to have Bibbiani on our live show, which we do every week. And he talked a little bit about the Schmoedown, so we're going to cut that part of the interview in. But if you haven't checked it out, definitely watch the show that he was on. It was a ton of fun. He's a great guy. And this is a piece of that interview that we had with him. Yep.
I talk to a lot of people who compete in the Schmoedown, and a lot of them prepare in different ways. Now, if you're in the Star Wars League, you prepare by watching Star Wars over and over and over and over again. If you're in the Inner Geekdom League, the number of films you actually have to be aware of is actually rather small, at least compared to the singles and team league. So you can study that. You can just, I'm not good at Harry Potter. Kalinowski didn't seem to be good at Harry Potter. He studied Harry Potter. Now he's good at Harry Potter. For the singles league, it's literally every movie ever. And for me, as a film critic and someone who's been studying film pretty hardcore since he was 9, studying for the Schmoedown is basically doing what I do every day anyway. So I don't do a lot of things different. What I have done since I started playing the Schmoedown was paying attention to a few things that I know are on the wheel. For example, the earliest category that ever screwed me was scores and soundtracks, which I felt competent in, but clearly wasn't my expertise. And ever since that happened, I've been paying closer attention to who provides a score for various films. I feel pretty good on soundtracks, bad on scores. So I've been paying closer attention to some spots that I felt like I'm not as great as. I did a cursory brush up on just some of the more famous Westerns, because I know that's one of Rocha's strengths. When I went up against Draco, I took a closer look at some musicals, because I knew that was his strength, and it was probably going to be on the wheel as a result. But beyond that, the thing with me and Rocha is that how you play the game is going to matter, and it really matters in a championship match, because you have the betting round and you have the lightning round, and gameplay really, really factors into it. But in a typical game, if you know all the answers, it's hard to lose. So you just have to feel confident in your knowledge, and we both want to just put our knowledge up against each other. All the feuding aside, we just want to put our knowledge up against each other and see who comes out on top. So at this point, it's just I don't want to have to do a ton of extra studying. I just want to go up against them as I am, as I've been studying my whole life, and see how it turns out.
So thanks for that interview, Bibbs. We really enjoyed having you on the show. I know I wasn't on it, but it was still fun to hear the guys talking to you and having a good time with you. So moving on, I haven't had a chance to look at all the news that's been happening, because it feels like it's kind of changed every other day. Like there was an announcement that the Spectacular would be up early for Patreons, and then it got taken down, and so the news has been a little bit of up in the air kind of thing. We can't talk about next week's matches, so obviously we're continuing on in the tournament, and we're going to get some really great teams matches. I just want to make sure I get the right ones in the right order, because I've really messed that up before. So it's not even up online. Do you have that updated schedule, Abe?
Yeah, it's on the 30th. It's the Harris brothers versus the Odd Couple, and on the 2nd is Who's the Boss versus.
Oh, there, it's in the thumbnail. Okay, that's fine. It's just not on the normal schedule spot. Perfect. I like being prepared for things. So on October 30th, you have the Harris Bros versus the Odd Couple. And then on November 6th, you have the doubleheader, which is Janine the Machine versus Ben Bateman. And then followed by November 6th, November 7th. Oh my God, I'm done.
It's November
today.
2nd.
I'm done for today.
November 2nd.
I just give up.
2nd.
I just give up. No,
November 2nd.
November 2nd doesn't count, because
you skip Chance.
I skipped Chance's match. That's why. Okay. So November 2nd. It's fine. It's fine. November 2nd is Who's the Boss versus Corruption, and then the 6th is that doubleheader. We won't even talk about the 6th. I'm just excited to see Janine play again, because Janine is awesome. Also, you get Josh Bakuga versus the Professor that day, which is a match I didn't know I needed, and I definitely do need. But we'll talk about October 30th, the Harris Bros versus the Odd Couple. This is a really interesting match for me, because you have a team that is working surprisingly well together, and then you have brothers who are working non-surprisingly well together. So I'm really interested in this match. I have no idea who's going to win this match. Zero clue, because they're both very well matched, I think. Chance, you probably know who won the match, but if you want to like pretend like you don't or give some thoughts on I don't know how you're going to be able to handle knowing things about the Schmoedown that other people don't know, but if you want to pretend like you don't, that's fine.
What do you think of before seeing the match? That's a good question.
Yeah, no, this is actually like I didn't get to see this recorded before my time, so it's a tough one because like you said, you have two guys who literally grew up together, so they have that built-in chemistry, and then you get two guys to work surprisingly well together. So it's a tough one, but I'm gonna lean just because I think it would go the same. Even with JTE, I'd go the same way. I think it would be. I'm leaning towards Harris Brothers because I know like Lon is dude's a beast, and his brother's really good too. So, and plus, like we don't know what Jeff Snyder we're gonna get that day. So like you could get a Bibbiani versus Bibbiani 70s Jeff Snyder. So it's tough. It's a tough call, but I'm gonna go with the Harris Brothers.
Yeah, I get what you're saying as well. Jeff Snyder is always a bit of a wild card in terms of the focus that he has going into a match. Abe, what are your thoughts about this match between the Harris Brothers and the Odd Couple?
Well, these two teams eliminated both of my favorite teams of the tournament, so I would like to not comment on them.
All right, so
no, I want to say something.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I want the Odd Couple to win because Snyder dressing choices are pretty interesting, and I want to see him play more.
Perfect. Yeah, no, so my issue is that I've really enjoyed Andreyko and Snyder together on a team. I just think that their dynamic is really funny and that they're working well together in a way I didn't expect. And so I kind of want to see that continue at least for another match. But at the same time, I really also enjoyed the dynamic between John and Lon. And it's almost criminal that John has not been brought into the Schmoedown before these team matches, because he not only was he good at the trivia, he kind of just showed up and understood exactly what the Schmoedown was and delivered exactly what he needed to deliver in terms of personality. And he was hilarious. He was so funny. And he played off of Lon's professor thing so well. So I'm going to go with the Harris Brothers on this one as well. Just because that's my maiden name. So sounds about right. So then the next match, no one in this panel has any idea what happens in the next match.
I watch a Patreon match.
Oh, yeah.
For me.
Don't watch Patreon if you don't want to be spoiled. Yeah, so this is obviously Chance's match. If you want to talk about your thoughts going into the match, you're more than welcome to, because obviously you know who wins.
Who's playing? I don't remember.
You and a guy named Kolonowski, and a guy that two guys with shades, and a dog,
guys, some people.
Interesting. No, this is Ben and Riley, great guys, love them to death, both of them. But we got over what was arguably the biggest obstacle to get over in our second round. So I feel pretty good going into this next match.
Okay. I mean, I'll take that with a grain of salt. I don't know that I have a particular team that I would pick to win this one, because again, they're teams that shouldn't. Well, you and Kalinowski, I guess. There's no reason why you shouldn't work well together. But who's the boss? They're a team that really shouldn't work well together given the storylines, but they're working so well together, and it's.
I love who's the boss because they're an apparition. They are the good, the bad, and the ugly of the show.
I love it. That's awesome. No, I think that's exactly it. It's that their dynamic is so wrong that it's right. And it's working so well. And so I want to see them move forward. But at the same time, I think that you and Kalinowski have become a team that is really respectable. And even if you don't win the match, it would be great to see you guys continue playing together. I know that you aren't in LA, but if there was an opportunity to continue playing together, would you consider it?
Would I continue to play with Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like Mike and I, he's not going back to DC Movie News, so he's still out of a partner. And Mike and I we work so well together that even no matter what happens in the tournament, I would love to continue working with Mike in the next season.
Awesome. Yeah, because obviously if you get the belts, or if you win the tournament and go and actually get the belts from the Shire Wolves, then you'll have to work into the next season.
Right.
But I think that's awesome because, number one, we'd love to see you in the Schmoedown more because you're a cool guy. And fans like seeing fans in the Schmoedown. But I think your team just is really, really well matched. I mean, you and Mike do work really well off of each other's knowledge. So I would love to see that moving forward. And if there was like two teams that I would pick to continue after this, one of them will never happen, and it would be Bibbs and Nost. And the other one would be you and Mike. Bibbs and Nost is just because them arguing makes me laugh a lot.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, but you and Mike are the pick because you guys have really good team chemistry. So that's awesome. So hopefully you win.
Oh boy.
But we'll see. It could go. It all depends on the wheel, as Christian likes to say. So those are the next matches that are coming up. Yeah, those are the next two matches coming up. Outside of that, we just have our fantasy update. I did pretty well this week, Abe. We'll see how your lead is looking. We're gonna shoot it over to whoever's. You fired the other guy, right?
Yeah. Now we have the Fast and the Furious superstar Vin Diesel.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna shoot it over to Vin Diesel for our fantasy update. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, geez, he can barely speak English. What are you doing?
It's all about family.
It's about family, Chance.
The family doesn't mean you're capable.
All right. Well, Vin, let us know what our fantasy updates are.
Hey guys, it's Vin Diesel here. I'm back because Take 3 and these fantasy updates, they're my family. Everything is about family. So here's the standings for Take 3. In first place, we got Super Epic X Team, and he's got 848 points. That's good standing. Second place, we got Team Corgi, and they got 743 points. Third place, the family of Immortan Gen Schmo Boys, and they got 705 points. In fourth place, we got the Yoda Lions with 445 points. In fifth place, we got the Penguins. 420 points is what they got. In sixth place, we got Tiny Carrots with 405 points. So that's it. No one's trading, because like I said last week, you don't trade your family. You only upgrade, like, if your family's not really competing, then you should probably think about trading that family and getting a family that, is competing. But, so that's it. You can follow me, Vin Diesel, on Twitter, @VinDiesel. Fate of Furious is now available on Blu-ray, DVD, streaming, and Betamax in some countries.
Thanks, Vin Diesel. How did we get Vin Diesel to do our fantasy updates, Abe? How did you work that magic?
That's an X-rated answer.
All right. Well, the world will never know how we got Vin Diesel to do our fantasy updates. But that's all we have for this week's Take 3 Reactors Summit. I want to thank our special guests, William Bibbiani, and last but not least, Chance Ellison. It was great having you on. I liked having someone on for the whole summit to talk about not only the match that you were in, but the upcoming matches and the other match from this week. I thought it was really great to get your take on everything going on. Where can we find you on the internet, good sir?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChanceWars_91. Check out my personal YouTube channel, Chance the Critic. Check out my podcast that I do with my buddy Russell Howell, Notorious by Chance. We upload every week. Check out my other podcast that I just launched as of recording today with my buddy Robert Parker, podcast with Add a Cool Acronyms, podcast where we talk all about basic verb. And the last show I'm plugging is one I'm going to launch November 2nd. It's going to be a show that me and Russell do about this different series of films called Serious Study. Our very first season is going to be about the DC Cinematic Universe, World of DC, whatever you want to call it. And our second season, we're already gearing up for. It's going to be about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're going flip flop. But yeah, working on a lot of stuff, and yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. I did not know that you were that busy. We'll definitely link to those podcasts in the description, or maybe. We'll see. It depends on who updates the description, but we'll try. But definitely check those out because they sound super interesting. Abe, where can we find you?
You can find me saving 2.5 pesos when I buy groceries. You can follow me on Twitter, MF25. I don't do anything.
He does everything. He just doesn't do anything on camera. And you can find me, as always, unless I'm busy, hosting the Reactor Summit right here on Take 3. We want to thank you guys all for watching this week. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust at Smith_K10, the number, not the word. And next week should be just as fun. We've got a lot of great matches to talk about. And we'll know a little bit more about what's going on for that tournament final. So that's going to be awesome. So, yeah, that's all we got. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Sambombazo.